Double Dragon 3.
Ah yes, the Double Dragon series. First developed by Technos Japan in 1987, it was their next in line from their predecessor title. I'm not even going to attempt to name it, just take a look. Which roughly translates to Hot-Blooded Tough Guy Kunio. Once Hot-Blooded was released outside of Japan by Taito, it was renamed to Renegade. The story completely changed, the sprites changed, the levels changed, it was a hot mess from the original title. But we're not going to go there.
Double Dragon was released in 1987 and became an instant success and established a great platform for future beat-em-ups to follow. I remember when Double Dragon first came out, I was amazed at the graphics, the moves, the hair pulling, and the weapons I could use. I mean, who wouldn't want to whip their sister? Okay, that's just kind of weird. Then in 1989, Double Dragon 2 was released. They took their success from the first Double Dragon series and extended on it. In the process, they changed the button configuration. Instead of punch, jump, kick, it was now attack left, jump, attack right. This confused many gamers from the first Double Dragon game.
Technos Japan wanted to milk the cash cow that was the Double Dragon series. So in 1990, they released Double Dragon 3. Well, I can give you 3 words. 3 steps backwards.
In the attract mode of the game, you learn that the Lee brothers, Billy and Jimmy, cross the paths of a weird fortune teller named Haruko. She, or he, tells them they must find the 3 Rosetta Stones scattered across the world, and she tells you no one has come back alive.
What's the point? There's always a reason you put your life on the line for a video game. Nope, you're just told go find 3 stones, go to Egypt, and try not to die. That's like if I were to go to Las Vegas Boulevard, find a hooker, and her to tell me, oh, I have herpes, and everyone I've had sex with has gotten them, you might leave unscathed. No, I'm not going to do it. Okay, maybe I would. Damn, this game's making sense.
So you just left the Power Records store and now everyone wants to kill you for picking up the latest Lady Gaga CD, and I don't blame them. I'm dead serious when I say this. The controls are the worst, vile, repulsive, shameful waste of my brain cells of any game I've ever played. Instead of being fluid, they're clunky and unresponsive. I can literally bang my head into the buttons and feel a better response, or it's because I'm self-inducing a concussion to throw off my perception of a good game. Either way, it's fucking terrible. What really fails about the controls is the fact that you get stuck in the animation of hitting or using your weapons and can't break out of it. You are not even allowed to avoid an attack after you started throwing punches or channeling your inner Michelangelo. It feels that the game is punishing you for picking up a weapon or even trying to fight. Double Dragon 3's graphics train wreck is the most noticeable. They try to go for a more real life and less of a caricature of the past installations. Instead of moving fluid from one spot to another, it looks like you're going 10 frames per second in a strobe light fashion. Just take a look, it's horrendous. The previous games were smooth and then they pull this shit? I don't get it. Then you have to stay in an invisible grid alliance to even hit your enemies. Even if you're one line off, you're just sitting moron throwing your arms about and your money away because AI will see this and just kick your ass. When you get knocked down, the enemies stop attacking, they walk towards you and wait. A total sign of smart AI. As soon as you get up, you get violated in the most heinous of ways. Like a schoolboy at a priest meeting. The only way to move is to respawn an invincible flash, so your only option is just to die at this point. As soon as you figure out to just run away from the grid and come back as soon as you're back on their grid and jump kick them. Repeat.
If you thought it couldn't get any worse, it does. In the US release of the game, there were certain stages that you could actually enter a weapons store and purchase items, like weapons, extra guys for when you died, stats, and moves. So you're telling me Taito thought us US players were a lot more gullible? Yeah.
So follow one of the red arrows into the weapon shops, and for $1 each you could purchase one of these pay-to-win attributes. In the Japanese version, it wasn't even included. You were defaulted into already knowing every move, and you could pick up weapons off the ground from time to time. You want to know what's better, US players? When you died, you lose all your paid items.
So you're telling me some profiteering gluttons wants me to spend more money on a game that I've already put money in it just to play? I already put $0.25 in this godforsaken excuse for a Double Dragon, and you want me to put more money on top of that just to get an advantage? Are you fucking kidding me? But back in the 90s, that wasn't all that uncommon. And in today's standards with the EA Sports franchise, you could spend upwards to $40 just to get an advantage online. And that's only if you want to be a skater. Good luck if you want to be a fucking goalie.
In the original Double Dragon, they had 3 or 4 different enemy models. This game only has the same 2 enemies in a variety of color swaps. What a joke. Why somebody step backwards?
If they didn't put all their effort into the story, the controls, the graphics, or even the fighting, it had to be something else, right? Maybe it's the bosses.
In Mission 1 America, you fight against the Black Warriors leader Jim, who happens to be Willie's brother from the final boss in the first Double Dragon. He's a pushover. You killed his brother 2 years ago, you'd think he'd have all this pent-up anger against you. Nope, instead he's been doing 12-ounce curls at the bar, drinking the pain away. In Mission 2, China, you fight a stereotypical kung fu master named Lee. As long as you jump off the walls with a flying kick, keep your distance, you've got this fight. This boss is a blatant rip-off of the amazing Bruce Lee, and one that would make him turn in his grave. Mission 3, Japan, has Yagyu Ranzu. This asshole means business. This squirmy bastard will get out of any attempt of pinning him in a corner. Once you finally do manage to pin him, he splits into 3 people just to spite you. His squirminess combined with his star throwing and smoke bombs makes him one of the most annoying bosses. Mission 4, Italy, we have Giuliano. Fuck him. Mission 5, Egypt. Well, you finally make your crusade to Egypt, and there's a small floor puzzle you must solve. To solve it, you have to step on the red tiles that spell out Rosetta. Not hard, but a well-needed relief from actually having to play this game. Making your way to the final door, you're greeted by Frodo, or Haruko, the fortune teller. Well, turns out, surprise, she's after the stones all along and you've been doing all the work for her. Instead of dragging this horrible cliffhanger on, you kill her. This last fight feels like the developers vomited out any idea they could muster and mixed it into a vat of desperation. In comes the mummy of Cleopatra. Fuck, when did she become 8 feet tall? You have to kill her in her mummy form first, which isn't actually that hard. It's probably one of the easiest fights in the entire game. Then all of a sudden you're being teleported to outer space?
One small step for man, one giant leap for a pile of shit double dragon game.
Just stay out of her way and run back and forth for a while. Kick and boom. Game over. The battle has ended. See this chest of golden riches? This is the makers flaunting how much they made off this low-budget piece of shit game, squeezing every quarter from us, the loyal gamers. The end credits are even depressing. No music, nothing. And only 11 people worked on this game? Wow. Depressing.
It's pretty bad when Tectos Japan's older games were a lot better than Double Dragon 3. Styles and graphics were evolving. They were probably in a ditch somewhere counting all their money and laughing their asses off that they came up with this shit. With games like Final Fight that came out a year before Double Dragon 3, there was no excuse for this bullshit. But now they come out with this 8-foot mummy, mind-numbing, I fucking hate you. Here, you know what? Take all my goddamn quarters and go fuck yourself. That's like me going to Las Vegas Boulevard and finding a hooker and her saying, "Everyone who has had sex with me has gotten herpes, but you might live unscathed." I guess she's a pirate hooker, but she's a fucking